Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Guys, I said it. I don't think, I've been so excited about starting something new, and I think venturing into uncharted territory being the YouTube platform. So I'm super excited to be here. The delegation on my Instagram have been asking for a channel, and I think thanks to my mentor, this was something that we put on my vision board and some of the goals that I've set for myself in the year 2020. So I'm welcoming you all to the HR perspective. My name is Luyanda Duma. I am an HR practitioner, HR consultant, and I specialize in talent development. So I'm all about grooming and ensuring that the young person is thriving in their work environment. And basically, that's what this channel is all about. I think just to get started, I don't know YouTube etiquette. First of all, please subscribe. If you find yourself or stumble upon this video, know that this is the place where you get to grow within whatever career, industry, or sphere that you're in. We will be tackling a lot of issues, and the reason why we've called this the HR perspective, because it will be advice from myself. I'm just going to give you a rundown on what really to expect from your corporate queen. So please subscribe, like, share this video, invite your friends to come join us for fireside conversations where we tackle all issues HR and employment related. Guys, listen, easy. Employment related, yeah. You know what I mean. But I think my bio fully does explain what it is that we will be doing, who I am, and I think a lot of people who already may follow me on my Twitter and Instagram know what I'm about. But for those that have just joined us and know me from YouTube, I am an HR practitioner. I did my undergrad in industrial psychology, and now I've completed my honors in human resources with 3 years experience. But I'm very, passionate and eager, to learn and develop talent. And this is something that also I think has come naturally beyond, my profession. So this is my first video, boom. I'm so proud of myself because I think I've been procrastinating this YouTube journey for about 2 years now. But I saw it very fitting this year, and I think this is the right time. So what to expect on this channel, and so some things that we will be talking about. First of all, we are going to be covering a lot of uncomfortable workplace truths and HR truths, right? So there are so many things that you may know, that I may know. We will be discussing all those issues in this channel, right? We're also going to be getting tips from obviously myself as an HR professional and talent development specialist. Also, we'll be having fireside conversation with professionals, whether it may be or may not be in the HR space or profession specifically, but we will be talking to people from finance, people from different professions, and really and industries as well, to kind of get their feels in terms of their experience with HR or within their specific industries. So this is really a platform where you get to learn, grow, and develop your career, right? And also we will be obviously speaking about career and workplace functions, as well as giving advice on that. And lastly, personal development, because for you to actually fully step into any specific role, you need to have a strong sense of self, strong sense of your skills, your capabilities, what you're good at. So we will be developing you as an employee, you as an employer, in the process of learning about all these things. So there you have it, folks. Welcome to the HR perspective. I think on a very light note, my first video really was an introduction, which you've done already, but I want to really speak about 10 common mistakes that job seekers make when they prepare their CVs. Guys, we can never stress enough the importance of paying attention to detail, the importance of being able to sell yourself, right, to your prospective employer, and doing it the right way, right? So as a recruitment, not really specialist, because I sort of as a generalist, so I've explored and I know how to perform most HR functions, recruitment being one of them. And when I'm put in a position where I have to recruit, there are certain things, and I've tried to group it into 10. There's much more than that, but these are 10 common things and 10 common mistakes that you guys as job seekers may make one intentionally and others unintentionally, but here, that's why we have this platform, because we're here to learn, help each other, and make sure that you show up as the right person in whatever job that you may aspire, or an industry that you want to end up in, right? So let's get straight into it, right? Guys, I don't know, is there other things that we need to discuss? Like, subscribe. I'm just here. I'm called to create content. I'm called to speak. Honeys, listen, I don't even know how to do stuff, but we are going to learn along the way. So if you guys do have advice for me as a first timer, please drop it in the comment section below. And otherwise, I'll put everything in the description box. If there's things that I mention, or entities or industries that I mention, or professional bodies, if ever we speak about those, I will put everything in the description box. But grab your pens, grab your papers, notebook, grab your CV, highlighter, whatever it is that you may need, as we begin to uncover these uncomfortable, truths about people compiling CVs, right? So number one, wrong and unnecessary attachments. I always say that, if we as recruiters are screening CVs or preparing response handling manually, it is, guys, it is a long process. It is tedious. So the last thing you want is to look for the information that you are, that you require as a recruiter. So make things easier for yourself, make things easier for the person that is going through your CV, and, put the right attachment. If we are saying that this is the post, this is what we need, don't give me your birth certificate, don't give me your passport, don't give me, things that we didn't ask for, because then not only does that waste the recruiter's time, but only there is no time to screen and search for, your documents. So if their documents are not stipulated for you to send or attach, leave it out. There will be a time and process in between the process where you will be required to submit your academic record, to submit whatever other documents that the organization may require. So if they didn't ask for an attachment, do not include it. And also check your attachments, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very, very important for you to label them and name your documents. So Luyanda's CV, Luyanda's ID copy, Luyanda's academic record, so that when you attach those documents, it's easier for you and you do not attach the wrong documents. So that's always common, that people are either attaching unnecessary things and also wrong documents, right? Number two, wrong CV format. And this is something that you need to pay close attention to, especially because now, even with, with artificial intelligence and innovations within HR and within HR technology, a lot of companies, especially big corporates, are now starting to use systems to screen CVs because of how long and tedious the process is. So if you then, put the wrong document format, we will not be able to open it on the system on the other end. So it's very, very important that if they say PDF, you send as a PDF document. If they say whatever, JP, whatever, you put whatever is required. Make sure that you check your documents, because the recruiter will not be able to open that document or have access to it if it's not in the right format, right? So number three, incorrect documents. Like I said in the previous one, when you're putting unnecessary ones, another common mistake would be uploading incorrect documents. I have seen people's bank accounts, I have seen people's pay slips, I have seen things that I have no business seeing, because obviously we're human, we do make mistakes, but thoroughly check before you upload your CV document or send that email to your recruiter or potential employer, right? And then number four, no introduction on the body of the email, right? The one thing that you want your prospective employer to know about you, and some of the, the traits that you want when you look for a job, is one, attention to detail, professionalism. For me, that is a huge thing. So if you're just going to send an email with an attachment, no greeting, no introduction, nothing on the email, it just kind of seems like you don't really care, or you're just doing it for the sake of doing it and not really paying attention to details. So it's very important to have a subject. For instance, in your subject, you would write something like, what would you say on your subject? So you'd speak about, wait, I'll tell you now. Let's say you're applying for a finance intern job, right? So you will say application for finance intern job, or finance intern job availability, or something like that is very specific to the role, right? And then in your email body, greetings recruitment manager or greeting hiring manager. If you know who the person is, address them by Miss, Mr, with a surname or name, whatever it is that they've written on the job spec, right? My name is Luyanda Duma, and I'm applying for the above mentioned position, and then space, you start a new paragraph. I have 2 years experience in the finance sector. I've worked as a what, majoring in A, B, and C. This is where you get to mention, guys, it's not a long story. It's just literally 2-3 lines. But this is where whatever the prominent key features or skills that are required, this is where you mention them and how you've learned them or where you've learned them, right? And then obviously, kind regards, if you have any other information that you require, please do not hesitate to contact me on, and then you attach your documents. So all those things are very, very important. Don't just attach your CV and send it. If, let's say, for instance, they're using a portal and there's a space to write a short description about yourself or about your experience, don't leave those gaps open, beloveds. You need to write, because the reason why they have that is because we read through that. And for us to even open your CV, those are certain things that we take into consideration. So always mimic the key words and the key skills that are mentioned on the job spec when you obviously write your email, and also when you upload these documents, because this is how we pick up if really you're a person that we're interested in seeing or even reading through their CVs, right? So number 5, I encountered this so many times, especially in interviews. CVs are not updated. Beloveds, you need to update your CV every time. If you learn a new skill, update on your CV. If you leave your job, update your CV. If there's any change or addition in your career, make it known in your CV. It's very sad that a lot of people lose out on opportunities simply because they haven't updated their CVs in terms of their skills, their qualification, or whatever it is that may happen. So make sure your CV is a working document. So make sure that every time you do something or attain something professionally, you write it down on your CV or in your CV. Cool. So number 6, relevant work experience not mentioned. This is a common mistake as well, where people will tell us or tell recruiters that they've worked as a promoter, an alcohol promoter or an in-store promoter, or a freelance photographer when they're applying for a finance or HR intern job, right? So I always say that you need to customize your CV based on, 1, the organization, and secondly, the position. There is no way in hell that you will send one CV document to all organizations that you'd like to work for. Each organization has a different culture. They have, a different vibe. The positions, are different. As much as the title may be the same, but the scope of work is different. So you need to tailor make your CV to suit that particular organization. So if you're applying for an HR job, you don't need to mention experience that are not related to HR or important skills in HR. So in HR, skills will be communication skills. So if you've ever done any work that required extensive communication skills, you don't need to mention that, right? So make sure that whatever skills are prominent and are required in that job, you are able to mention those work experience that are strictly related to that, and not things that are not important. And then also when it comes to, because a lot of people will ask, how are we supposed to list our experience? Is it from oldest to newest to oldest? I always say, first and foremost, pick the relevant ones, and then obviously you will date them according to your latest moving down. Cool. And then number 7, that's what I just spoke about, not tailoring your CV according to the job, right? So you need to tailor it according to the job. I've already mentioned the importance of that, because obviously organizations are different, the cultures are different, so it will require, you know, a different you. Basically, you need to sell yourself in a different way. So for instance, if I had to apply to do HR at a, you know, at a marketing agency or creative agent, that CV will be very different if I'm, you know, applying for a financial institution, or, you know, I think you kind of understand what I mean by that, right? Cool. Then number 8, sorry. Guys, stop sending images of your CVs and images of yourself when you're applying for jobs. That is not what we are looking for. We are looking for people that are skilled, that are qualified, that are competent. And me seeing a picture of you is not automatically going to make me take you simply because you've attached a picture. And I always say nowadays, it's very, very risky to be sending pictures of yourselves, especially to companies that one you've never met, that you've never been to, you have no record or knowledge of, because we live in a very horrible country, and, you know, females get, you know, kidnapped and, you know, scouted in these ways. A lot of people that do scams as well. So stay away from sending pictures, especially if organizations are the one asking for those pictures. Be very vigilant and don't fall for scams, because I know that obviously we are in a time where jobs are very scarce and people are very desperate for jobs, but make sure not to fall for any traps. Also, when it comes to this whole picture thing, don't send pictures of your CVs. Make sure that you have your CV saved as a PDF document or whatever other format that is available, but never as an image. There are people that will literally put CVs on their bed and take pictures and attach that. That is not very professional of you. And to be quite frank, no recruiter or no organization would want to employ somebody that does that, right? So be very careful of those things, because you think they're minor, you think, oh, we won't pay attention, but it's all those small mistakes that, you know, have people not being called back for interviews, or, you know, not even getting response after sending in the application. So number 9, this is the biggest, guys. I don't think, guys, you know, grammar is a huge thing. Like, grammar is a huge thing. So there's a lot of poor formatting, proofreading on CVs. People don't check alignments. Like, things are skewed and so forth. And, you know, I always say that tabulate, if you can, your work experience, right? Make your CV pleasing, you know, to the eye. Let it not be difficult for me to find out where you've worked, from what year to what year, what your skills are, right? Make sure everything is clear, precise, neat, to the point. In fact, if I see a neat CV, I'm excited to read through it. I'm excited to get to know this person, right? So make it pleasing to the eye. I always say that before you send your CV to a potential employer, send it to your mom, send it to your dad, have a friend review it, have your mentor review it, so that you can get feedback from other people. So ask people around you that are important, you know, to you. Would you hire me if this is a CV that was put on your table? And if not, get that feedback and, you know, work on your CV and make sure that you check up on the things that are areas of concerns to them. Yes, they are not HR professionals, they are not recruiters, but there are things that they will spot. And I gave this advice when I was speaking on the radio last week, Monday, that another thing that you can do is that run your CV through Grammarly. So Grammarly is an app that will check your grammar, punctuation, and all of that. So run it through Grammarly. It's free. Go to Grammarly on web and you upload your documents, and it will literally correct all your mistakes. So this is something you do for your cover letter, for proposals, or any other documents you know, that you use at work, even at school, because I learned of Grammarly during research in my whole varsity year, because obviously when I do assignments, I'd run them through Grammarly. So make sure that, you know, there's proper grammar and there are no spelling errors. And, you know, number 10 is not really a mistake, but rather would be my piece of advice to you as a job seeker, that I know how frustrating it may be to look for a job, especially in a country where the unemployment rate is extremely high, especially amongst young people. But I always say that, you know, the more no's you get, the closer you are to your yes. Don't be afraid, you know, to put yourself out there. Don't take no for an answer. If there's no on this door, or this door is shut, you know, try another one. And, you know, you can never stop bettering yourself and stop putting yourself out there. And what I mean by this is that a lot of people obviously will get discouraged because they've seen their CV so many times, they don't get feedback, or they don't get called for interviews. But really, the more no's you get, the closer you are to your yes. So keep going, ungapheli umoya, and know that, you know, your job, or the job that is right for you, is waiting for you. So in the interim, while you are applying for jobs or looking for a job, make sure you develop yourself as a person. It's very, very important. There are people that have been, you know, unemployed for years, and you know that with our education system, certain degrees or certain functions and certain things that you learn become redundant. So even when you are at home, upskill yourself, make sure that you know what's happening, make sure that you know the trends, you're researching how to make yourself a better HR professional. What are things that are, you know, are in now within the HR industry that I can learn for myself, and I can empower myself, so that by the time I get to work, you have full knowledge, you know, of the industry, of the organizations as well, and learn about the organizations, learn about the spaces that you want to place yourself in, because I think knowledge is so important, because you thrive and you are able to do so much because you know. So before you go to a company and you approach a company, or you apply at a company, make sure you know the company and you know how your skills will match that of this company and be of value. So that's always very, very important. I do hope this video was helpful, and yes guys, so please like, subscribe. Thank you so much just for supporting me as well on IG. Let us hope and pray that we grow as well on YouTube, and that you may grow in your career. Look out for my HR perspective videos once a week. Let me know what you want to know. If you have any questions, do engage with me. I truly do appreciate it. And for myself, the corporate queen, I'm out.